Welcome back, dreamers, to Indie Synergy Exchange, your podcast for all things indie art and creativity. I'm your host, Tanner Giese, also known as Number 2 Pencil Man, and the owner of Tanner's Tales Entertainment. Joining me tonight, I have my wonderful co-host.
I am Frae Official. I am the illustrator and Tanner's art slave, basically.
You're my best friend. We're going to go with that.
Best friend art slave.
And tonight we have a special guest. We have the one and only Gene Willoughby joining us. So we're going to do a cheer for him. Yeah, we're super excited to have you, Gene. But before we get into you and your backstory and what you do, we got to do all the fun promo stuff. So all of you guys who've been watching us know the drill by this point. I believe this is episode 32. So we've been doing this for 32 episodes, which is crazy to think. We've just passed the 30 episode milestone. It's been an amazing journey. And if you have watched our podcast before, then you know that there are 31 other episodes before this that almost all feature another creative individual of different types. We've had independent creators of all kinds on the show. We've had artists, authors, poets, wrestlers, clowns, small businesses, doctors of psychology. If you can do it independently, we've had it on the show, and we like to showcase it. So if you like what we do, please consider interacting with the content, checking out our previous posts and other things that we have posted up on the channel, and also be sure to subscribe. It helps us to build this platform so that we can get these indie creators out into the spotlight where they belong, because there's so much to indie, and we just want to show it to the world. So help us do that by supporting us, and thank you guys for continuing to watch us after 32 episodes. It's still crazy, and we got a lot more to come, so stay tuned. And if you're an indie creator and you want to be on the show, message us. We'd love to, get you scheduled and see what we can do. Give you a spotlight too. So, without further ado, that's all for that spiel. I want to turn it over to our special guest for the night. Gene, please give us an introduction. Tell us who you are and what you do.
Okay, my name's Gene Willoughby. I'm the writer and artist primarily of a book called The Sunstroms. It's a novel and comic book series. I'm recently adding something new to this universe called The Last Age, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But The Sunstroms came out in 2017. I started working on that novel around 2013. Finally got it out in 2017. And after that, really started adding something new to the universe at least once a year. The first thing we added to the novel was a source book. Then there was, when COVID hit, it was really the perfect time to work on a new project. And I got the comic book done. And after that, it was issue 2. Issue 3 came out last year. And we're getting ready to be finished with issue 4 and get that lettered and start promoting that. It's basically about a superhero family that loses both parents in battle. Their oldest son, Sam, comes home, gets his siblings together. They form a team to take over for mom and dad. And then they realize we've inherited our parents' enemies, and their lives just go completely haywire from there. And that's pretty much the gist of the premise of the book. And you just get to see them take on responsibility after responsibility and hard thing after hard thing, because this is what their parents used to deal with. And now we're the offspring and having to deal with stuff we never thought existed. And so that's pretty much what that's about.
Wow. That's really cool. And so it started with a novel, correct?
Right.
So how do you balance like having the novel and then doing the comic book? Are they kind of like sequel to the novel, or do they run?
I looked at it as the novel being just a big event that has its own beginning, middle, and end. And then the comic book ended up being the continuing adventures of the team. And I'm trying my best to keep them to being one and done issues. 3 and 4 did not turn out that way. The story ended up being so big. I said I need to cut this in half. I didn't want to shortchange any of the moments I wanted to
Mhm.
do, and so number 3 ended up having to be continued to number 4.
Oh wow. But other than that, they all kind of like stand out.
Right, right. I try to do as many. I try to look at it as like a Saturday morning cartoon format,
Okay.
where back in the day, if you missed 2 episodes and you came in on the third one, you still felt like you knew what was going on.
Mm.
I wanted to keep it that way for now. I'll start doing some longer arcs later on, but I really want to do the one and done format right now,
I
or
think
or,
that's
at least the 2-parter. I think I can
yeah.
stick with 2-parters.
Yeah, that's a genius way to format it, honestly, and I should probably try to do that moving forward with comic books myself. But that's really cool. How did you know that you wanted to do comics, like from the novel?
Um, Honestly, I stumbled upon that. I started, I've always been an artist, but I really envisioned doing a book series, just
Mhm.
prose. And when I got the novel done, I didn't have anything to sell along with the novel. I've been doing some T-shirts. That was my way of doing a Kickstarter before I knew what Kickstarter was. I sold T-shirts to fund getting the book printed. And when I did my first show, I said, well, I'm going to do art prints of the characters. And so my first show, I had a stack of novels and art prints of the main characters. And the more I went out and sold books and set up my tables, people would say, I want to see comics of these characters because they like the prints. I would sell a lot of prints too. And so the more I heard that, like I said, when COVID hit, and I'm a teacher, and so we had to go home for a year and teach remotely,
Mm.
and I'm having a lot of time on my hands. I really started working on the comic at that point and got it done, and then the series just came out of that.
Wow. Do you think you'd ever go back to doing a novel after doing the comics, or do you think it's comics from here on out?
Right now, it's comics from here. I'm gonna tell you, I'm loving doing comics. I've learned so much about the format. I've been a comic kid since I was 5 years old, so I've always been into the format, but never really thought that I could do it. As a writer and artist, that's a
Mhm.
lot to bite. you
Yeah.
know, um, but at the same time, I love the format. I would do another novel, but it's a totally different discipline to try to get 3 to 4 pages of prose done a day. And that's what I was doing when I got that novel done. I was, you know, I don't even know how I did it now because I was really, some days it was 2 pages, some days it was 4 or 5, but on average it was like 3 pages a day. And I was on that daily, and so
Wow.
I don't, right now with me being a teacher full time, I don't know if I could do that again right this second. I'd have
Hmm.
to, I'd have to have some time.
Yeah. Yeah, I can only imagine. Like, I'm only used to writing comics myself, so I don't know how if I would even be able to do a novel myself.
Right. And looking back, I feel like I told my wife not too long ago, we were talking about this. I can draw and have a conversation at the same time. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You know, um, and I can get enough moments away by myself where I can script. When I script and do my outlines, I do need to be kind of secluded, but
Hmm.
because I just the way my mind works, I can't do the words and have distractions, and so. But when I get that done, if somebody's coming in the room and they're talking to me and I'm drawing, that's I can do that. But the novel is like seclusion and for hours, and that's difficult.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Wow. That is so cool, though. Like, I'm blown away that you did a novel and now you're doing comics, and I imagine you just said you do the art for the comics too.
Yeah, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your process. How do you create the comic books?
I normally I do an outline of the issue in just bullet points, and I break that down into pages that are mostly bullet points. And when I get my pages kind of nailed down as far as what's going to happen on each page, then I'll go back and I'll do a full script on those pages. And so, but I'll draw from the outline,
Okay.
if that makes sense. And that way, when I can draw from the outline and I can go back and do a full script for it later, only because I'm writing and drawing the book at the same time. If I was writing for an artist, I would script it and make it as tight as it could possibly be before I would send it off. But because I'm going to be the one drawing it, I can draw from my outlines and go back and script it.
That's really cool. Frae, is it similar for you? I'm just curious because you also write and draw Endlock.
Yeah, it's similar. So what I do is well, the beginning ones I kind of went off of, they were very loose. So I kind of just went along and drew pages as I came up with the story. And then I realized that wasn't working. Like there were a lot of loose ends in my story that need to be tied up. So when I got to the third one, I actually sat down and made an outline of everything. And then the fourth one that's about to come out next month, I did the same thing, made the outline. And then I make thumbnails, and then I take the thumbnails and put them into the computer, and I make the pages from there. So yeah, it's pretty much similar. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I'm just the writer, so I was just curious because I've know other people who do the art and the writing for the comic book, and to me, it's like if my art was a little bit better right now, and I didn't have like a thing with my hands where if I draw for too long they go numb. It's like I can't quite do that at this moment, but hopefully in the future. But it's like to see people who write and draw their own stuff. Like I have so much respect for you guys. It's not easy, it seems.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's
Frae,
cool.
did you have a question?
So I had a question. You said you talked about your thumbnails. How long do you normally spend on that process?
My thumbnails, because since it's kind of similar to you, like since I know it's me drawing it and not someone
Yeah.
else, they go really quick. And I found like I don't even put like a lot of detail and stuff because I'm just like saving that for the computer because it's like I just need like positioning of the characters, maybe a loose background that I can sketch out because I
Right.
know I'm just gonna scan it into the computer and finalize it through that anyway. But if it
Yeah.
was someone that was working with me, I would probably do more detail on the thumbnails.
Yeah. That's kind of how I think about it too.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's for me and I know what everything, I know what it is.
Right.
I don't need to add as much detail in the thumbnail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, would you ever consider having like a third party draw your Sunstrom?
I would. One of the things I wanted to do first, though, I'm concerned about making sure that I define what the look is,
Gotcha.
and so it's kind of I want to draw it enough that if somebody else were to draw it, they know what it's supposed to look like,
Right.
and so. And so I'm in that process now of just kind of laying the foundation of this is who these characters are. Um, just I'll just use a Marvel example. Steve Ditko and then John Romita, they drew Spider-Man enough to the point that the people that came after them, they knew, okay, this is the standard, of how Spider-Man should look.
Right. Gotcha. That's cool. Um, I mean, we didn't even ask the basic question. So, where did the story origin come from for you?
Uh, um, Honestly, I've got a huge notebook
Hmm.
of like universe stuff that I want to get to, and the last stage was part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that last stage is a huge part of my universe. But with that, there are a lot of different parts and a lot of different pieces of the world and different places you can go and characters you can meet.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have a way in
Hmm.
other than just throwing a bunch of stuff out there and it's chaotic and just saying, hey, this is all the crazy stuff that's in my head. But when I came up with the Sunstrom family, and the fact that they were explorers, it became, oh, okay, if I start with these characters, we can meet everyone and go everywhere through these characters.
Gotcha.
And that's really the premise of it, is that you get to see my universe through their eyes when they meet. They meet the characters from the Last Age in issues 3 and 4, for example.
Gotcha.
And so that's kind of how that book is structured.
Mhm. So it's kind of like a MCU. Like I would say, these are like your Avengers, and then they interact with other characters, and then
Well,
expand on their stories.
if you're going to go that route, they'd probably be more of a Fantastic Four.
Mm.
As the original Fantastic Four, that's how you met Black Panther and Inhumans and all these other characters. That's how you explored the whole thing. And so it's kind of like that. And so the Sunstroms came out of wanting to figure out, how do I introduce all these concepts to people without just saying, hey, look at all this stuff that I have,
Right.
And so the original idea was I was going to take every concept that I have and do the issue 1 of each one, and then just kind of, and when I got done, compile them into a trade paperback or something like that. But I just felt like the Sunstroms was a good idea to introduce those things to people.
Gotcha. Did you feel like that was your strongest idea out of all the other ones that you had, that you should develop first?
It was that, but also in my mind, it was just more. What's the word? It was more organized if I did it that way.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
The concept made a little bit more sense than, because now when I introduce, if you read The Last Age after you have read some of my other work, like it really makes sense. If I gave you that first, and you didn't have any other books to go to after that, it would just kind of be a one and done thing. And it's a cool read on its own, but after you read The Last Age, there's some other books you can go to kind of see what the rest of the world is.
Gotcha. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, I think that's really awesome. I have a question, I guess, for you as the creator of your novels. Sorry, that was a loud motorcycle just went by. What is your favorite element of your own story?
Okay. Favorite element of my own story is, okay, let me ask you this question. Are you talking about the stories that I'm writing or my personal story?
I guess if you want to go with both, let's start with what you're writing, and then if you want to tell us.
All right. My favorite element of my writing is the first 2 or 3 pages of The Last Age really gives you the reason that I'm writing this entire thing. You find out in those first 3 pages of that book where superpowers came from in the first place, how good and evil first clashed on our planet, and the ramifications of that throughout history all the way up to now. And so that, I think, is my favorite part, because I found an interesting wrinkle in how to write about superheroes that we haven't really dealt with, and so I love that part.
That's exciting.
Very good.
What's your favorite element of your other story? I guess if you want to delve into that too.
My favorite part of my creative journey has just been the fact that I think I've always had a little bit of imposter syndrome growing up, and not really feeling like I could do comics, which is my dream. That's all I've ever wanted to do is to do comics, and being able to get to a place where I just said, let's do it. And my wife really pushed me. And when I say she pushed me, she saw what I was doing and wouldn't let me give up on it, wouldn't let me quit at certain points. And and she's a huge reason about why I'm here doing this.
That's what's
Oh,
up.
that's beautiful.
Shout out
I
to the
love it.
wife being supportive.
Yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. That's cool.
it's important. It really
Yep.
is. Like, if you are a creative, you got to find somebody who supports the dream because otherwise,
Hmm.
it's just not going to work.
It's not gonna work.
Mhm.
That's right.
Yeah.
Did-
To the point, I wasn't even. I tell people all the time, I wasn't gonna do my own cover to my novel,
Hmm.
and she was on it. She was like, "Why not? Why are you not gonna do your own cover? And so that's really what got the ball rolling. When I did my own cover, then I started doing my prints, and
Mhm.
then I started doing fan art, and it just really snowballed from there.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Do you have a question? I was about to say.
No, I saw you say something, so I was good. I was letting you go.
Oh, all right. Now, does she travel with you to your different conventions and help you sell things as well?
Yeah, most of the time, yeah. She's always on the road with us, and she does the table setup. That's all her.
Mm.
When you see my table, I have to say I think it looks great when we set up, but that is all her design. Tablecloths and that have the Sunstroms and Hammerblam print on it,
Mm.
um, and just the whole setup and making sure that everything is kind of pleasing to the eye. And so, because if you've ever seen my desk, that's not my strength, and so that,
I
that
know
is
about
that is
that.
not.
Papers all over
Yeah,
the place.
exactly.
Yeah.
That is not my strength, but she makes it. She just makes it what it is, and I really appreciate it.
Nice.
No, it's
Yeah.
so beautiful. I love it. I love it so much. I know my wife, right now, we have a 2 year old, or not quite 2 years old,
Mhm.
so she hasn't been able to come with me when I do tables, but this past con that I went to, she actually manned the table for me, and she
Uh-huh.
laid out the table and made it look better than I could have made it. So I was like,
Right. Exactly.
I can't wait till you can come help me more.
Yeah.
It's amazing when you have that support and that person that's like, yeah,
Yep.
let's do it.
Yep.
Oh,
It makes all the difference.
Mhm.
oh yeah, that's beautiful.
Now, do you do so I assume you do like multiple conventions a year. Do you stay mostly on the East Coast or do you like travel the whole United States?
Right now, we've been pretty much on the East Coast. I'm trying to get more up north in the next year or so,
Hmm.
um, and then I want to branch. I want to branch out from the East Coast, but that's where we've been so far.
Gotcha. Do you have like a favorite memory since you've been on the road to these conventions?
Yeah, there was there's a family that I met at a show, and they bought my novel, and the next I'm not even gonna say the next year. It was in a few months.
Hmm.
They liked it enough that they ended up buying a couple of more copies.
Nice.
I think they were teachers,
Hmm.
and they were buying them for classrooms and kids at home and stuff like that. And a year or two later, the whole family showed up with Sunstrom's t-shirts on
Oh wow, that's
at my
awesome.
table, and that was. And at that point, it didn't matter if I made my table or what, um, but that was the best moment.
Yeah, that's
That's
exciting.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always exciting when like and Tanner is coming into this now with Pencil Man. That it's like when people come up to you and they're like, "Oh, I love your stuff," and
Yep.
they start becoming like real fans, invested. Like people come to my table, they're like, "Where's the next book?" And I'm like, "I'm getting to
Yeah.
it." They're like, "Dude, get the
Yeah.
next book out. I need to follow the story."
Yeah.
Like it's just keeps you going and puts like the battery in your back just to
That's
keep
right.
pumping out stuff. So yeah, man, it's nothing like the support of people
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it makes it worth it. You know, even, you know, you do a show and it might not be the one, you know, it's what I had to learn early on was that if you don't do well at a show, you know, yeah, it could be you, but you know, it could also be there's so many other factors that factor into you, you know,
Right.
your placement, just the weather, you know, you can go like, especially, you know, you roll the dice a lot of times when you go to one of the bigger cities because they have so many events going on at the same time. You know, you might get to a city and there's a big football game that weekend,
Yeah.
you know, but at the same time, when you do a show and you don't do as well as you hope, you know, when you have those moments, it lets you know, okay, you know, we're still doing well, you know, because it's, you know, we're resonating with people, you know.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. Did you have another one for your? I
No,
got
you
one.
got.
All right, cool. So going along the lines of like conventions and I guess more of like evolution through conventions, you told us a little bit about what your table looked like in the beginning.
Yeah.
What does your table look like now if we were to look at it compared to when you started?
When I started, I had I'd always order big on my novels. I'd have 2 stacks of novels on my table, and I'd have um, prints of most of the characters from the novels, you know, spread out on the table, and that was it. Um, and I think I might have had a price sign up or something like that. Now I've got a little bit less novels. I still keep enough that I can, you know, do some sales on them. But I also have issues 1, 2, and 3. I have my source book. I have an art book. I've got trading cards.
That's cool.
Uh, um, I've got a whole lot more art prints than I had before, and so it allows me to be able to. I have a lot more better days than I used to at shows because what I found out is the more types of inventory you have, the better you can do. Because one of the secrets you know, like I said, I stumbled upon a lot of this stuff, but you know, I didn't have a lot of people to tell me things, you know. But one of the things I stumbled on was at one show, I'll just tell you this past weekend, 2 weekends ago, I did well at a show, but I sold one comic book. I sold all prints the whole time.
Oh wow.
And yeah, I've done shows where I sold out of my novels and didn't sell anything else. I've had shows where I sold out of all of my issue number ones, you know, and then I've had shows where I've just sold some of everything, you know. So it's just like you never know. And so I think the more types of things you have, the better you can do at these shows.
Yeah.
That's so cool. What's the most popular item that you sell now at shows?
like like I just said, it depends. I've got 3 Transformers prints that I sell at my shows, and this past weekend, like I sold almost all of them. But then again, like I said, the show before that, I didn't have any issue number ones of the Sunstroms when I left. So
Wow,
it just depends on the crowd, you know.
Mhm.
that's really cool. Yeah, I'm curious about that because I have like a consistent seller. Like my comic books are like the thing that I think I sell the most of. And then
Yeah,
some cons I'll sell like a couple of my stickers or a keychain here and there.
yeah,
It's like you never know, but for me it's always like I have that one consistent seller and
hmm
it's really interesting to see and to like
yeah,
hear what other people are selling and what like is going off of your table and Frey's table because I know Frey also has a plethora of different things and prints that I don't necessarily have yet, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to hear about that.
Yeah. I don't. Let me see. I would say like Gene. It depends because there's a lot. Like I go to different. There's anime conventions. There's like more book oriented convention.
right.
But like, so I went to a book oriented convention, but my majority seller were my prints. So it's like you really don't know. Like,
Right. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I stocked up on all my books and I only sold one, and then it was like everybody else is
Yes.
just like Prince, Prince, Prince. So I was like, it's really hard to gauge out there, to be quite honest. You just kind of
Yeah.
got to make sure you have everything, because I noticed
Right.
the thing that you don't have in stock, that's the thing everybody wants.
Yes. Right.
I'm like, oh, I don't have any issue one, so I'm going to try to focus on the Prince. And everybody's like, I know you have Inlock somewhere. And
Yeah.
I'm like, crap, I should have brought Inlock. And then I'll bring
Right.
Inlock, and it's like everybody gets the Prince, and it's like, like
Right.
so.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, and now like everybody's asking about freaking official verse, my board game, and I'm like, it'll be back. Like where were you in the beginning of the year when I was promoting it heavy? Now, so I mean, it's a crapshoot. You know. Mm-mm-mm.
Oh man,
Yeah, Tana,
I guess I do have another. Huh?
I was going to say, how is it for you? You said it's the comics that are your main.
Yeah, I always sell like the comics over everything else.
Yeah.
It's I guess it's because of my branding, the character that I
Mhm.
do, because I dress up as my character when I do conventions, which is
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess one of the marketing tactics that I don't see too many other people use. There's a couple other ones that I
Hmm.
see here and there, but it's like when you have a specific brand, sometimes it's I guess maybe easier to sell a more consistent
Right.
product if it's with the character on it or something. I
Right.
That's kind of my own experience. Like I will sell at least I know I always sell at least one comic book, but I've always normally sell more than one. Like it varies. I'll sell like 1 to 10 a show. It really depends on the day, depends on who's there. Sometimes they'll buy the comic and then they'll buy stickers, or they'll buy a button with it. A lot of the smaller stuff that complement it, and the bundle deals when I run them. So, but yeah, the comics are really consistent.
Hmm.
You ever think about doing that, Gene? Like having people dress up as your characters?
Um, that's occurred to me. I've actually had a couple people to actually volunteer for it.
Mm.
That's
But it,
cool.
that'll come with me, getting outfits made and things like that. And so that's a slower process, because if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it right.
There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
I,
Yeah.
I guess along the lines of that, I wanted to ask who your favorite character that you created for Sunstrom is.
My favorite character for the Sunstroms, it would have to be the leader of the team, Sam. Just because, he was the first character that I really drew and knew exactly what I wanted him to look like. And so he's kind of got a special place just because he kind of kicked this whole thing off.
Got you.
I love it.
Fun question. If you could make a soundtrack to Sunstrom, I'm sorry. What 5 songs do you think would be on the soundtrack?
Oh boy. Um,
Or you could do
there would
3.
there would be um there would probably be, I'll put it this way. I can't give you songs right now. But I tell you, there would be a lot of old school hip hop on it.
Mm,
Um, just for the beats,
mm,
because that's definitely the energy behind the stories. That's when I'm drawing, I can't write with music playing, but when I draw, that's definitely what's playing when I'm drawing.
got you. Cool.
I love
Mm-mm-mm.
it. And I think I'm going to pull up the Kickstarter here because I know you
Okay.
want to talk about the last age here. So I'm at the bottom. There's Shape Man.
Ooh, okay, there it
We are.
is.
So this is book 4, correct?
This is book one of the
Oh,
of the last age. Um,
okay.
yeah, we're 44% funded. The last stage is 5 connected short stories about a a kingdom of superheroes, basically, and their clash with evil, and they believe that they're in this final age of mankind, And when they're in this clash in this generation, we start to find out the secrets and all of the histories of the origins of superheroes, the origins of supervillains, and the origins of the clash between good and evil, and how that's affecting us now, and just what the end is going to be. And so,
Mm-hmm.
um, book one is called Mythology, and like I said, the first 3 pages we really get a huge look into what started my universe. And so, um, I've kind of framed it where there's an older hero doing the old grandfather thing of, come here, young hero, and let me tell you the stories of these heroes. And so the stories are connected that way, um, in the way that oral storytelling has always been passed down, through
Mm-hmm.
word of mouth. And so the stories are being told in that fashion.
Very
Just
nice.
gonna scroll through your Kickstarter here for a moment, and I definitely want to go back and check out the video that you put together for it.
Real quick, where'd the name Hammerblam come from for your company?
Um, Hammerblam, that's an interesting origin in itself. Like I said, I'm a teacher. I was teaching my 8th grade class years ago, and we were talking about context clues and the fact that you can tell what a word means, basically by how it's used in a sentence.
Right.
And so I made up a nonsense sentence, and I used the word hammer blam in the sentence, and they figured out, what it meant based on how I used it. That was funny in itself,
Mm-hmm.
but I had one student in my class. Every time he saw me in the hallway after that, he hammer blam, you know, and he did it so much when I started. I'm a big imprint label person, and so when I was like, okay, what am I going to produce these books under? That word came up, and I did a logo for it, and there we go, hammer blam storytelling.
There it
I
is.
love it. Yeah, your art style here, like looking at these preview pages, I love it. It's such a unique
Thank you,
comic
man.
style,
I
and
love
the
the
colors are vibrant too, and I like that.
yeah.
Appreciate that.
I'm a huge fan of all the boldness, the bold lines and stuff. It really
Mm-hmm.
pops out at you.
Yeah, it looks nice. I
Thank you.
I'm
Yeah.
definitely gonna have to get your comics when I see you in person, hopefully sometime. Obviously, you guys must have met in person, so I'm sure I'm going to bump into you at some point too.
Where did we meet again?
Which
I think, was it
convention?
Baltimore?
It might have been Baltimore. I
Yeah,
think it
I
might.
think it was Baltimore.
Yeah, it probably was Baltimore. Yeah.
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 Oh yeah, no, I'm
Um,
definitely gonna have to find you at one of these cons.
yes. I wanted to ask you, how much, or rather, do your kids, that you teach, do they influence
Mhm.
like story ideas or anything? Do they like
Mhm.
give you ideas or anything like that?
Well, I gave somebody. I did not a seminar, but a just a creative writing workshop with some students
Hmm.
Friday afternoon. And one of the things I told them, and I do this myself, is I listen to people talk like all the time. And
Right.
like, if I'm sitting in a restaurant, or I just go grab something to drink and I'm sitting down, in a McDonald's or whatever, I just kind of listen to people's speech patterns, and just the way they talk to each other. And a lot of that stuff makes it into my writing, as far as just how people have conversations. Because you want your characters to have distinct voices and things like that. And so I just, it's not that specific kids make it into my stories, but I do like to listen to the way that the kids talk to each other, and just kind of how they behave and decisions they make, and those types of things, make it in.
You're gonna pick up on like
Mm.
the slang. You're gonna have characters saying, "Oh, you really raised up," or whatever the, whatever the kids say. I think I used that in the wrong context.
Yeah, you probably did, but it's okay. It's- what I and the other thing I told him was, I try to stay away from that,
Mm,
actually. Um, because when you do it, then 2 years from now, your writing's already dated.
Right.
You know what I
True.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're not going to be saying that anymore. So I look at more of what kids care about and what they're focused on at a certain age
Mm-hmm.
in order to write kids more so than their slang. Because as soon as I start writing crash out, they're gonna stop saying it. You know what I'm saying?
That's how it is. It's like once the older generation starts doing it, now they don't want to do it anymore. They're like, all right, we're done.
Right, exactly.
Oh man.
I'm just going through your reward tiers here just to give everybody a look at what these are. You've got quite the selection of add-ons for each tier, which I really like.
Yeah, we've got, just talking about rewards, I've got a trading card set, I've got a classroom art print set, 2 t-shirts, and we've got a villain variant cover that you can choose to have as a bundle with the main cover. I also did a bundle where you can get the crossover issue with the Sunstroms along with the Last Age, and so you can kind of build that story as well. And so
Mm. This is the one that has everything, pretty
yeah,
much,
yeah,
right?
that one has everything.
I love the everything tiers. They're always the best. And there's Shape Mannequin. Wow. Yeah, this looks great. And I'm excited. I definitely want to jump into your universe. I know now. And like I said, I'm hopefully going to find you in person. But if not, I'm going to get them off the internet at some point.
All right, I
Um,
appreciate that, man.
yeah. Should we check out this video for the preview?
Trailer.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, that's the trailer. Yeah.
Let's check out the trailer. That's pretty cool.
Awesome.
I got to do,
Appreciate
where
it.
is it?
Appreciate
The audience loves it, and so do we.
it.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with that art style too. I'm a big fan of it.
Appreciate that, man.
What were your biggest influences growing up, art wise?
Art wise, I grew up as an '80s Marvel kid,
Hmm.
and so I'm gonna say this, but at the same time, I had to preface it with I didn't know the artist that I was looking at back then.
Mm-hmm.
I was 6 and 7 years old, but now I realize I was looking at the John Byrne and Walt Simonson and people like that
Right.
um, in those books. I grew into Art Adams and Jim Lee and the guys at Image, and so all of that really kind of shaped what I was doing.
Got you. Got you. Yeah. Do you have a question, Tim?
I was gonna say, if you have another one, go for it.
You got it.
Ah, cool. Um, yeah, like when you came up with the art style for Sunstrom, how did you decide on what you were going to, I guess, base your character designs off of? Did you have like any other inspirations besides what you kind of just said?
Um, really, just the it's all about the feel of it for me. I try to have a strong silhouette. I try to have just designs that I feel like are catching to the eye.
Mhm.
Um, I want to have the bold colors, like you said. I've always been partial to um, just just the bold black lines and just kind of just making sure that your inking stands out and things
Mhm.
like that. And so that's just always, I guess it's just the aesthetic that I like. I have to like it first,
Yeah.
and so and those are the types of artists I grew up on, and so of course subconsciously you're always going to be striving to make it look um, in the same vein as the artists that you enjoy.
Mm.
Do you find that your fans kind of demand you try to like curve your story a certain way, or do like they don't factor in? Like, do you kind of just do your own thing, or do they like their entertainment? Like, is that more of an influence on where you go story wise?
Um, I try not to really put too much weight on that part.
Hmm.
I try to just tell the story that I have in my notebooks, and that's just where I'm going. I've got, I want to say I have one notebook, but there's at least two more, and I got to find them. But um, I've got everything in those books, and it's just a matter of organizing it and just saying, okay, I want to do this part now, and
Mhm.
let's make it fit. Um, I'm just being true to that, because if I don't, then I'll just get lost just trying to chase something that you can never really satisfy.
Right. Everybody's got their own thing that they like want in
Right,
there. Like, you should do this. Maybe make them fall in love, or maybe um put this villain in there, and this villain idea would be great and stuff. And it's like, it's my story.
right. It's like you
Like, you
can't.
don't want to be that way. Like, but at
Right,
the same
right.
time, you want to be like, I need to write it so I also enjoy it. Yeah.
Right. And that, like, you can't satisfy it, because, like, I think it's the craziest thing, from a fan perspective.
Mm.
But you always look at how George Lucas killed off Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he wrote that story that way, not knowing that Boba Fett was going to be what everybody thought was the coolest thing and wanted to have all these stories about, you know. And he wasn't thinking that, Darth Maul was the same way, they had to bring him back, you
Right.
know,
Mhm.
but he wrote a story a certain way, and then the fans jumped out and said, "Oh, this is the coolest thing ever. We want more of that."
You're like, crap, I got to write the origin story of this person.
Throw some clones in there.
Right, right.
Right,
Oh,
Uh,
man. Yeah.
I get that too. Like I constantly, because I'm a pencil, everybody's like, "Oh, hey, I got the next idea for a villain. Have you
Mhm.
thought about the sharpener?" And I'm like, I hear that like 5 times, like at a convention. I'm like, I should have like an eraser sidekick, and I'm like, oh, you
I've
know,
never heard that before. Huh.
yeah, I get that a lot, and it's like I appreciate like they're invested in the story enough to be like, I think I have an idea,
right.
but it's just like, yeah, just wait, I promise, I might touch something like that.
Right.
Just give me
Yeah,
some time.
Yeah. Now,
uh,
do you?
Fans are great though.
Yeah, they
I
are
yep,
gotta
great.
say,
They are
absolutely.
great. Shout out to the
we're
fans.
not hating on you fans. We
Right,
promise.
right. It's just let us cook. Let us cook our stories.
uh,
um, do you plan on expanding outside of books? Maybe like an animated series or anything like that?
That's always a long term goal.
Hmm.
Um, but right now I feel like I'm just at the point where I'm building the thing that can turn into that,
Got
yeah.
so and so I just want to really just kind of be on the ground level and just write the stories, and then those stories can turn into whatever they need to turn into, you
hmm
know.
got you. Cool.
I got something similar to that, only it's regards more merch.
Okay.
You said that you do books and prints and T-shirts. What is like a piece of merch that you would want to create for your series or for your comics and characters?
I am constantly in pursuit of the perfect avenue to do an action figure. Um,
Yes.
I'm a big action figure kid. That's what I grew up on, and to me, that's like the ultimate expression of
Yes.
whatever it is the figure. And so, like, I'm constantly in search of figuring out how to get that done. And so you know, anybody have any that has any avenues to do that, I'm all ears because I definitely
Actually,
do
I'm on the same boat with you there because I loved action figures. You said Star Wars. I was a big Star Wars kid, and
that.
of
Hmm.
course, one of the biggest marketing things for Star Wars was the action figures.
Yes, yes.
It,
I
it made
I
me
was
want my
working
own.
at Toys R Us when Phantom Menace dropped, and so
Mhm.
I got to see a different side of
Really?
of marketing. Yeah,
Wow. Was it not a good
absolutely.
one, or was it a good one?
No, it was a good one, but I had never seen so many boxes of one. Like they they had to have given us 50 boxes of the same battle droid, and
Mm.
like that's how big the launch was.
Mm.
It was huge.
And all of
Yeah,
them.
I wish that they made the toys like they used to for the Star Wars
Yeah,
ones because they kind of like took a big back step, and then they sell the
yeah,
deluxe ones for like four times the
yep.
price of what we used to be able to get them for. And
Hmm.
that just kind of makes me sad. But like one thing I liked about Star Wars was that if they had a character, they made an action figure for it.
Yep,
Even if it
absolutely.
was just like that background character
Hmm.
that nobody even cared about. It's like, oh, here's an action figure for him, and it's like, all right, cool, why not? We're gonna buy that one too.
Because they knew that people like us were going to set the whole scene and have like everybody that was in Jabba's palace like at the same time. Like they knew we were going to
Yeah.
do
Oh, I love it. Um, but to go back to like the whole figure thing, I've actually met a guy who just kickstarted his own action figure. He did it through
it. Hmm.
3D print means, and he actually found a designer. He passed the designer on to me,
Okay.
who can like do posable limbs and stuff. It's like a ball joint, so it's not
Okay.
like as like posable as some.
Uh-huh.
Um, but the guy is really reasonable. And I started out, I have these little 3D print figures now of my characters that he
Okay.
designs. So I decided I'm going to start with like the stationary figurines and then
Okay.
hopefully build up. So I'm right with you on the action figures. This is my
Yeah.
second character that I just had done. I don't have my Pencil Man one with me, but this is Officer Sweets. Um, so it's just like, yeah, I feel like action figures is going to be the next big thing for the comic, like indie comic scene, because it's becoming more accessible,
Yeah.
especially with 3D printers. If you can find somebody who knows how to design the figures, you can
Hmm.
basically get them done at this point, and it's just a matter
Yeah.
of plug and play. And it's so cool that we can actually do this now. So,
Right.
oh
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. You're right. I definitely want to get into that space.
I know a guy. I can send you the contact information for the guy I use on Fiverr for the designs. He does really good work.
Okay.
He might
Okay.
be able to help with the action figure part. He did the one for my friend. So,
Hmm. Okay. Yeah. We'll definitely talk about that.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, I love action figures. Afraid, did you have something?
I'm sorry, there is people running in the hallway. So
Oh,
I had to mute the mic. I'm sorry. Um, that's all for me. I would say we should give them the final question, which
Okay.
is what is something that you would tell different creators um,
hmm
that are struggling to pursue their goals, like and get out there.
Um. Keep working at it. Don't quit. But I also tell people, um, do it the way that feels right to you. Don't try to copy anybody else's lane that they're in, because what's working for them is working for them because that's who they are, and so you have to find what works for you and who you are, and that you know that's part of the journey. That's where you're going to make your mistakes and you're going to realize, oh man, I shouldn't have done that. I should have done this. And but it's all part of where you're supposed to be going. I've been doing shows since 2017, and I'm just now figuring out some things. And so, but that's the pace that it was supposed to happen at.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I love it.
Yep.
I'm trying to utilize the soundboard, also noticing the time on that track. It says that the cheering track is 36 seconds long. I don't know why the cheering track has to be 36 seconds long. I only play it for about 6.
Press the Nani.
The Nani one?
Yeah.
The Nani one's a little quiet.
Nani?
I love that one too. They give me a soundboard. I'm trying to get better at using it. No, Gene, that was wonderful. Everything that you talked about, I'm super hyped. I'm definitely going to be checking out Sunstrom, and hopefully, well, I'll try to get all of it at some point for sure. But I'm definitely interested in reading the comics, and the upcoming graphic novel sounds like it's going to be amazing. And I'm just excited to dive into your creative world. And I guess I want to ask you one question for anybody else who wants to do the same out there, and that is, where can they find you, Gene?
You can find me first at my online store, Hammerblam, my Shopify.com. I'm on Instagram at Sunstrom's Novel. I'm on Facebook as Sunstrom's Novel. I'm on Substack under Willoughby.substack.com. That's my newsletter. And I give out news on new projects. I also drop new character bios on Substack all the time, so you can see characters that haven't been in books yet, but I've done the bio for them, so you can read a little bit about them and get a little preview of what's coming. And so that's a pretty cool site as well. But yeah, that's primarily where I am.
Very nice. And we'll make sure that we link all that below in the description for all you guys to go check him out. Be sure to check out Gene and support his projects. He's got a lot of cool things, and we're super excited that we got the chance to talk to you.
Yes, absolutely. Same here.
Yeah, man.
Now, Frae, do you have anything that you want to say before we end?
Inlock Volume 4 is coming out next month. So look forward to that. And by the end of the year, I'm trying to get another project out. I'm not sure if it's going to be a manga or just a comic currently, but Inlock Volume 4 will definitely be out, and there will definitely be another project behind that. And then Official Verse Reloaded is going to launch in December. I'm basically launching the game again. So it's going to have, I've now bumped it up to 20 more characters. First it was 12, then it was 15, now it's 20. I just have so many original characters. I'm just like, I haven't been promoting the game since like February, March. So I'm like, with this big update, we're just going to more rules. Your deck is going to expand to 50. It's going to be more character cards, more cards for your deck. So I'm going all out in December. And then, of course, our project, you writer, me artist,
Yes.
Pencil Man, number 3, will be out the first quarter of 2026.
Yes, which we are super excited for.
Oh, one more thing. Sorry. I will be at RizuCon in Montgomery County, Maryland this Saturday. So if you want to see me and get some prints and artwork and some Inlock Volume 1 through 3, I'm there.
Yeah, definitely go check him out. Yeah. I have a couple things to say, too. Nothing too crazy. Well, I guess there's one big thing. We just finished wrapping up the filming of the second half, which we did first. So I guess I don't know if I should call it the first half or second half, because it's the second half of the video. But we are doing our next live action Number 2 Pencil Man video. If you guys have been following the story of Number 2 Pencil Man, you know that it started on YouTube, which is quite an interesting origin, I guess, for comic character as well as just a character in general. So we're bringing Number 2 Pencil Man back to YouTube with some maybe canon stories, maybe not, just world fillers to kind of build out the character, build out the world. Some of the characters that you see, if you love them, might actually show up in the comic book later down the road. We'll see how it all goes, but we just finished filming the second half, which was done first, of our live action, and it was a lot of fun. So I want to thank everybody who came out to help me. I actually had a lot of my fans that love what I do actually came out and helped me too. So that was really fun to get to hang out with all of you guys, and everybody who helped me out had no experience acting, but they did such a phenomenal job, and we're excited to see the final product, which, stay tuned, that should be out in October, just in time for the 3-year anniversary of the first ever live action Pencil Man story, and also the 1-year anniversary of the comic book. I'm trying to time it that it hits the sweet spot right in between the two. Be like hey, we're kicking this off again. So this will kickstart a new era for the Tanner's Tales Entertainment YouTube channel, where we're going to have more Number 2 Pencil Man skits. We're going to have new characters coming out, other stories. It's going to be fun. So definitely don't miss that. As Frae said, we're aiming for issue 3 of Number 2 Pencil Man to be out in the first quarter of 2026. And we might have another story coming out sometime soon after. We'll see. We're still kicking a lot of stuff off, so I think that's most of the exciting news. Oh, and I might be doing a Kickstarter for these little figurines. I'm thinking about, once I have a couple designs made up, I'm going to do a Kickstarter for people who want to do them. I'm thinking blind boxes. That's kind of where my mind is right now. So, we'll see how it goes. But always looking for a chance to innovate and figure out how to keep leveling up. That's all for me. The podcast news, as you know, we now have some merch. We have a t-shirt and we have a hat. So I actually put a hat design in my store. I'll put those in the link below if you want to support the show. All that goes to helping to support the show and also our individual dreams and building up the dreamscape in new ways so that we can start making new content. And there'll be a Patreon to come out hopefully soonish for that as well, once we figure out more bonus content and stuff that we can put on it. I think that's all for the group, right, Frae?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. I'm not missing anything. You guys know the drill. If you like this episode, please be sure to interact with the content and everything else, and subscribe to the channel so we can help grow this platform for even more independent creators to get their stuff out into the world more. And if you want to be on the show, message us. We'll get you on. And I think that's it. So, Gene, do you have any last words for the audience?
I'll be at Big Lit Comic Con in Greensboro, North Carolina, this weekend, October 4th and 5th. And yep, that'll be my last show of the year until we turn over in 2026.
Ooh, exciting. Go check him out at his last show. And I guess with that being said, that brings us to the end of the episode. So until next time, dreamers, keep dreaming, and we'll see you later. Bye.